Life is binary. Upon Kay Ivey's signing of Alabama's draconian anti-abortion law, my good friend Jiplin messaged me this. So, assuming they continue to pass, are all these new abortion abolition laws going to be enough to get you to check our box come next November? Donnie is sure hoping so. I assume you're pretty pumped about the one Alabama's governor just signed. Messaging is a great way to miscommunicate. There's no wink, wink, nod, nod, or vocal texturing to give statements or questions nuance. Jiplin, a man who finds Republican philosophy and priorities repugnant, knows that I left the Republican Party with the rise of Donald Trump, and that while I absolutely want to legislate and restrict late-term abortions, that I do not wish to legislate early-term ones. Jiplin knows that I see the process of gestation as a civil rights issue where two opposing vectors of power, responsibility, and protection change from absolute control and rights for the mother in early pregnancy to full legal protection for the preborn child in late pregnancy. He knows that I want women to have full autonomy of their bodies while providing civil rights to preborn children. A preborn child deserving of full protection of the law does not include zygotes, a fertilized egg, nor morulas, blastocysts, or embryos. Without doubt, it does include third trimester preborns, tiny humans that feel pain and are completely capable of life outside the womb. I responded to Jiplin's inquiry with complete sarcasm. Yes, this is definitely what I've been asking for. Late term equals anything after conception. Jiplin, who I believe was truly angry over the barbaric law Alabama had passed, responded with, LOL, well, it may not be perfect, but if given the choice between Alabama's law as it was yesterday, as opposed to Alabama's law tomorrow, you take tomorrow, right? This stunned me. Overwhelmed, I answered truthfully. Are you asking me, do I want no restrictions on abortions versus no abortions? I feel like Sophie choosing between her two children in the concentration camp. Do I prefer a world where women are denied autonomy over their bodies and are not given a choice concerning reproduction, or a world where preborn children have no rights? Ghastly. I punted. I prefer a ban on late-term abortions. I prefer protecting the unborn while granting women autonomy over their bodies, balancing the two, a very difficult needle to thread. A world where partial birth abortion is legal is sick. So is denying women autonomy and deciding if they want to end a pregnancy that destroys an embryo or earlier developmental stage. I also fessed up to my amorphous statement of late term. I have been vague in defining late term, but by definition, first trimester is not late term, while third trimester is late term. Jiplin provided the usual talking points of how rare late-term abortions were. I countered with, if they're rare, why not legislate them? Mass shootings are rare, yet we both want to legislate and control guns. I pointed out that the civil rights of woman and child are not binary, not all or nothing. That protecting both parties is crucial. Jiplin and I have had this conversation before. I said, we're at square one. Life is the primary civil right, as I've said repeatedly. All rights flow from this. Protecting that right is job one, not the only job, the first job. All rights follow after the RTL, literally. And they do. Without protecting the life of our most vulnerable, we have no meaningful protections, and presenting this as an all or nothing, an us against them, does great disservice to all. In Sophie's choice, Sophie chose one of her children to keep from being murdered by the Nazis. It didn't work. Both children were killed. We need to provide protection for both, not just one, and protection starts with understanding the sanctity of life. James Baldwin said these words, "We can disagree and still love each other unless your disagreement is rooted in my oppression and denial of my humanity and right to exist." Denial of humanity and right to exist. There is nothing more fundamental than the right to life, and rejecting the all or nothing, the unrestricted sloughing away of tissue versus a world that forbids women from deciding their own reproductive destiny is not our only choice. Elective abortion is not binary, it's not all or nothing, and humanity demands that we stop presenting the choice or life argument as if it were.